Yeah, is it like happy or no? Still pretty nice.
Hey everyone, welcome to day 60, and what I learned today is that I finished my book on obesity and dieting. So I've been hinting at this for a while that I wanted to do a full episode on what I learned from this one book, and today's that episode. So mainly I want to talk about the role of insulin in your diet and what you can do to kind of hack your body. I want to preface this by saying I am no expert. I'm asking please. I am not a doctor. I am not a dietitian. Everyone's different. Consult your doctor before you make any radical change in your diet or your lifestyle. Now, I want to start with insulin. So every time you eat, insulin is released in your body to help your cells absorb the energy and the nutrients that you get from the food. Now, a lot of different chemicals are released when you eat food, but insulin is the one that we want to focus in right now. And the main pointer that this book talked about is that insulin and insulin resistance is one of the only factors in weight gain and obesity. So basically think of insulin in your body as a thermostat. Insulin and the amount of insulin in your blood as an average is what sets your temperature. We're talking about thermostats as a metaphor. That's what sets the temperature. If the temperature in your house goes below that set temperature, then the furnace will kick on. The house will attempt to heat it back up to that set temperature. If the temperature goes above the set temperature, then the house will attempt to cool it back to that set temperature. That's what the average insulin is. And so if you decide one day to eat a lot more than you usually do, if you eat 3,000, your body will compensate by increasing your metabolism and the energy output of your body. The same goes for if you eat less in a day, but the opposite. So if you eat less than you normally do, then your body will lower your energy output and your metabolism to maintain that set temperature. That set temperature is your body fat, your weight. So how much insulin you have on average going through your bloodstream is what sets your weight. How insulin resistance factors into this is that suppose your cell has a lock and insulin is the key to open it up and then it gets nutrients. If there's too much insulin in your bloodstream, your cells will become resistant to that insulin. So that means more keys are needed to open those locks. So that means if you eat a normal amount of food, you're more insulin resistant, then it'll take more insulin for your body to receive that nutrition than someone who isn't insulin resistant. And the problem with insulin resistance is that it's a positive feedback loop. The more resistant a cell is to insulin, the more insulin that the body produces. And the more insulin that your body produces, the more resistant your cells become to that insulin. So those are two of the biggest factors in weight gain, insulin and insulin resistance. Now you're probably wondering, how do I control that? To answer that question, you have to know what the most insulinogenic foods are. And if you really think hard about it, you probably can guess those foods. Number one is sugar. Sugar literally has no nutritional value to your body. It is the most insulinogenic type of food. And we're talking candy, ice cream, sweets, pop. Anything that has added sugar is killing you. The second type of food that is very insulinogenic is refined carbohydrates. So we're talking flour, white breads, tortillas, chips, crackers, just anything that you can think of that is a carb, that is processed. Basically, anything in the snack food aisle is a refined carbohydrate. Those are the two most insulinogenic foods that we usually eat. And the problem with a lot of Americans is that sugar and refined carbs are a huge part of our diet. That's just the culture that we're in. And what you can do about it is to control what you eat. But another part of the equation is the insulin resistance. So the types of food control how much insulin is released. Now we have to talk about controlling your insulin resistance. And the way that you do that is when you eat. So like I said, every time you eat, your body increases its insulin. But after eating, it will slowly go back down so long as you don't continue eating. So basically, the periods of not eating are called fasting. Those are fasting periods. And we fast every night. Every night we go to bed, we eat maybe at 9, that was when dinner is, and then we eat breakfast at 11. And that is a period of 14 hours of fasting. That's where breakfast gets its name. It's break fast. The problem with our culture that we have is that we are hammered in our head that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and that we have to eat 3 full meals each day with snacks. That means that, by my analogy, like I said before, if you eat at 11 in the morning for breakfast, and then you eat dinner at 9, that means you had 3 meals in between there, and you had snacks. During that entire 10-hour period, your body had a lot of insulin in it. Now, 10 hours isn't too bad, but that example that I provided is not typically how a lot of people eat. A lot of people will eat food up until 11 at night or as early as 6 in the morning. The time of day that you eat is a big factor in insulin resistance. Another way to easily decrease the amount of body fat that you have is intermittent fasting. And a lot of people, the easiest way to do intermittent fasting is the 8-16 method, where for 8 hours of the day, you're allowed to eat. And then there's a 16-hour period where you're not eating. So, going by my example from before, if you eat dinner at 9 p.m., that means you have to wait until 3 p.m. the next day to eat. Now you're saying, wow, that's really hard. I'm hungry. Well, being hungry is just a part of that. And it's hard to break into it. I've done a lot of fasting in the last couple months. I even did a 36-hour fast for a while. And people ask me, wow, was that hard? And honestly, it was the first time I really tried a long fast, and it was pretty dang easy. I felt hungry twice during the whole period, and once I finished with it, I ate a little bit more than I normally would, but overall, it was fine, and it was a great experience, and I felt pretty good. So the main takeaways that I got from this book are: do not eat sugar. I've almost entirely cut out sweets in pops and ice creams and all that stuff that has all that sugar. I've almost entirely cut that out of my diet in the last couple weeks. A second thing is to avoid refined carbohydrates when you can. I'm trying to eat less bread. I'm very conscious of when I'm going to eat some bread or a tortilla or that kind of stuff. In fact, today I went to get Qdoba, and I looked to see which had more carbohydrates, the tortilla or the chips, and I found out that chips actually have more carbs, so I chose to go for a healthier option. Another takeaway is that intermittent fasting is, in fact, a healthy thing to do. We've been doing it since the dawn of time. When we were hunter-gatherers, or even just hunters, we'd go days without eating. And we won't lose muscle, we won't lose nutritional value, our immune system won't crash. Our bodies are designed to go long periods without eating. It doesn't make any sense for us to lose our muscle mass in the days of not eating, because when we get an opportunity to eat, we wouldn't be able to get the food we need to. So fasting is a healthy option, and it is doable. And I've learned that in the last couple weeks just from my own personal experience. Fasting is a lot easier than you think it is. But there are aspects of this whole lifestyle change that are hard. And like I said, I'm no expert. Please consult your doctor or dietitian or physician about this stuff. Everyone's a special case. What works for me does not necessarily will work for you. I mean, there's other factors to weight gain like stress and not sleeping that don't have anything to do with diet. But that's what I learned from this book, the main takeaways. The name of the book was The Obesity Code. I listened to it on Audible. It was a great experience. And if any of what I said sounds interesting to you, listen to the book. It did get a little bit monotonous, but I like how the author really hammers the point because he had to break the myths of old dieting. Anyways, that's the book. On to feelings time really quick. What made me feel negative is that I once again woke up really late today. I've been trying to wake up, but for some reason, it's just not happening. So next week on Monday, I'm setting a goal. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to be productive. I'm going to get stuff done. What made me feel positive today is that I finished all 4 interviews for my marching band documentary this week. I did it yesterday and today, and it was awesome. It was great to see the growth that these young people have achieved, and, well, it's just really rewarding. If you made it this far, I know this one's a long one today, a lot of information. You might as well hit that subscribe button and tune in every day for a new video, and comment down below what you've been doing to stay healthy in your personal life. Leave that comment down below so we can all learn together and grow together. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow. It's never rolling on the best parts, the best moments. Uh-oh. She's gonna kill you.